it's different when you divide the teams up, but it's a lot of fun to watch.
You're going to have some first-round picks here, defensive tackle from last year's team that are here watching. What are they going to see from some of the guys trying to take their spots?
I think they're going to see a different type of defense than what they played in last year, because they were the focal point as well as they should be. So we got some different guys. We got Rayshawn.
There's Rayshawn.
Yeah, we got Rayshawn coming back as the real veteran of the tackles and the ends, but the edge guys, TJ and Cam, and obviously Demo and Dom Nichols starting to come into things as well. But the thing that I've been pleased with this spring is the inside backers and outside backers. Like, that'll be more of the focal point of the defense this fall, I think.
You okay with walking around without a headset on, calling plays right now?
Yeah.
All right, Coach, thank you.
I'm not calling anything. I'm a parent right now.
I love it. Jason?
Relaxed day for Wink. Underwood to the end zone, just shy of it. Was looking that time for Fred Moore. Play broken up. Edelman on the coverage. Had a good start to his day so far.
Even on the misses, you can, again, there's the zip, the inertia with it leaving his hands, but when you miss, where do you miss? Ball location is extremely important alongside accuracy. Just putting that on the outside shoulder, it was a miss, but that was the place to miss for Bryce.
10th play of the drive here. Micah Capana takes his first carry, trying to vie for that third running back role. Dragged down by Metcalf, who finished up the tackle. Jake, you and I watched Micah back in high school.
Yeah, I mean, going to one of the great high school programs across the country in Bishop Gorman, and he brings a different dynamic to the running back room. We've talked about Haynes and Marshall as the two power backs, but Micah Capana is more of your speed back. And I'll be interested to see, talking about how the running backs get involved in the passing game. What can he do in the screens with some of that speed and agility?
Third down situation now in the red zone. That ball is caught. Just inside the 5-yard line. Jalen Hoffman on the grab. That'll move the chains.
Watching it in real time, just seeing Bryce settle into this game. Started this drive with a few completions on the hitch routes. Play calling is getting him into a nice rhythm for Steve Kasula.
Capana gets blown up in the backfield. That time coming up to make the play was Bennett, Keyshawn Bennett.
Part of that edge room that Wink Martindale was just talking about that he's so excited to see. Derek Moore is the leader. He's the first guy Sharon Moore mentioned as players that have stood out this fall. Derek Moore really, or spring, Derek Moore was a guy who really could have been a day 2 pick, but decided to come back. Playing alongside TJ Guy, and then seeing Keyshawn Bennett there make a play.
Said he feels like it could be the best edge room in the country. Really the D-line as a whole. So much depth. Underwood over the middle! Incomplete. Davis Metcalf that time on the coverage.
Bryce, it opens up so much for this offense with his ability to place the football in the right areas, and down in the red zone, understanding where to put the ball to give your guy a chance. It's a good location there for the most part. Just couldn't connect.
Now a 3rd and goal situation here. Underwood able to elude out of the pocket once again. A little too tall for Goodwin, but you saw the elusiveness in the pocket. Like you said, Jake, even if this drive doesn't result in a touchdown, you're seeing him get settled in different ways.
And this is something, just listening to the different defensive linemen talk. Rayshawn Benny has mentioned it a few times, where they think that they've won their pass rush rep and they're right in the hip pocket of Bryce Underwood, but use the word elusiveness, and it's showing up there. Just the athleticism he has to maybe a quick sidestep or escape the pocket to avoid the sack and give the offense a chance to make a play.
Our first points on the board.
You know, you hold a piece of Sharon Moore's offensive identity, but we do expect to see a few trick plays this afternoon. And some wind.
We know we won't see any returns either. It almost feels like, at what point does the wind just win? O'Leary and Baxter are back to return, but again, no returns today on kicks. Andrew Marsh will do the holding duties. They led the nation in explosive plays. We talked about keeping the identity, but wanting to bring that to this offense that was lacking a season ago. Go to the ground. Bryson Cudzall on the carry. First time we've seen Bryson today. Again, that running back 3 position is open.
Number 17. That 10-yard penalty will be added to the end of the run. Automatic first down.
It's not a call you see all too often. Yes, holding defense. That's Eno Etta, the defensive tackle, holding the interior of the Maize offensive line to try to prevent them from climbing and getting up to their double team at the second level. But even regardless, it was great movement by that Maize offensive line up front. It's a nice way to start the drive.
Good field position here for Jaden Davis. Touched on Mikey Keene, who will definitely be up for that QB1 job. It isn't Bryce Underwood's job just yet. Keene transferring from Fresno State. Davis able to elude some pressure here. Running out of real estate, though. He'll scoot out of bounds just past the 40. Mikey Keene played in the big house to open up last season, Fresno State versus Michigan. Wink Martindale, DC, was telling us, why do we have to go up against this guy to open up the season? He's a talented player with a ton of experience and a grad student who's, like you said, can be healthy pretty soon.
Yeah, but he's familiar with the Chip Lindsey system, played under him at UCF. Jerome Moore said he did an off-season study of snap counts, and Mikey Keene has played over 2,000 career snaps, so extremely experienced. Didn't feel like there was any need to rush him back from his injury, and certainly heavily in that quarterback competition to try to win the starting job this fall.
Fake the pass, go back to the ground. Well, let's say hi to Red again. Ooh, we're gonna hold off here for a sec, see what this call is.
Holding on defense again.
Yeah.
Holding defense number 95. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
Reds with a couple of very familiar former Michigan faces.
Yeah, you better believe it. Talking right here with a couple of All-Americans, Will Johnson, Mason Graham, a couple of national champions here. Will, being back here in the big house, man, does this kind of bring back some memories for you? Kind of get those goosebumps going once again?
Yeah, I mean, it feels good. Good to be around all the guys. It's good to be back. Good to be in the building, for sure.
And when you guys look back at what, as you prepare for the NFL journey, Mason, when you look back at what this place did for you, what being a part of this Michigan football program did for you, how has that kind of helped you as you embarked on this, which probably feels like years-long draft process since you finished up?
I just feel like Michigan's a place, you come to, everyone here is bought in and wants to get to the highest level. So, I came with Coach Harbaugh, all of us came in with that, mindset, NFL mindset, wanted to go. And we're kind of run like NFL, so, this is the best place for that.
And, Will, when you think back to some of the great moments of your career, defensive MVP of the national championship game, how did this team and Coach Jerome Moore and Coach Harbaugh kind of set you guys up for what you're about to, get to here at the next level?
They just showed us what it's like to prepare for those big games at highest level, with the detail and the character it takes to get to that next level. So they gave us a great foundation, but we got a lot left to grow.
Mason, what's the anxiety level like here as we're sitting about less than a week now from hearing your name called?
No anxiety, wherever I get the calls where I'm going to go. So, just grateful to fulfill my dream at the highest level. So.
Obviously, you and Kenneth Grant both departing, leaving a pretty big hole there in the interior of the defensive line. What have you seen from some of the guys that you spent time with, some of the younger players stepping into bigger roles?
Yeah, I was around, some of the practice in spring. It seems like there's a lot of depth, some transfers, but, a lot of the younger guys coming along and looking to step up, for a bigger role this year.
Mason, Will, thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
That looked like a defensive PI to me.
There's Shamari Earls on the coverage, the freshman, his first time.
In the neutral zone at the snap. 5-yard penalty, still third down.
So not a PI, but an offside. Let's look at it.
Take a look at this right here. Peyton O'Leary stopping, coming back to the ball. It definitely should have been pass interference on the freshman Shamari Earls. And a good job, Jaden Davis. This is a subtle thing that I think is a tell of quarterback comfort. Your ability to use multiple snap counts. That's the second time today we've seen Jaden Davis get a free play for his offense by messing with the snap count.
Lose a potential first-round draft pick in Will Johnson, the corner who Rep just spoke to, is now trying to bounce this to the outside, getting a first down. Is slipping up Turf Monster just at the tail end, but caught him after he passed the line to gain. Gain of 10 there for Kutzall.
Ball is now on the 41-yard line.
It's a really nice job too, as Michigan running backs have, it's been a big staple of their identity carrying the football, is pressing that hole inside and then bouncing it late. You don't want to bounce it too early, give the defense a chance to pursue. You want to press that hole, force the defense to commit, then bounce it outside.
Back to the ground. Good tackle around the edge from Shamari Earls. Again, one of those guys trying to step up at the cornerback spot. First time seeing him as well. The freshman missed his senior year of high school with an injury. Really athletic, was a state champion in long jump in high school. Virginia native, making his debut here today at the Big House.
There's a kind of physical target in this cornerback room. Shamari Earls, 6'2", long arms, long corners. Saw Will Johnson there down on the field. Also fits that mold of great length. Jair Hill, cornerback 1, he's also 6'2". So Wink Martindale kind of has a specific body mold, body type he wants in that cornerback room.
6'2", 5'11", and 6'2", all the guys you just mentioned there. Now rolling out, Davis going to use his legs. Of course, not hitting the quarterback today. They'll mark it down 3 yards short of the first down. But a holding call.
It sounded like it was on number 70, Brady Norton, the Cal Poly transfer. Had an awesome clip this week. Was asked about, he was being recruited by a bunch of different schools, including Ohio State, and they asked Brady Norton kind of about that, and I'd say he's fitting in with the culture here in Michigan right away, because kind of was messing with Ohio State and
There's some emphasis.
Yes,
is that word we'll use.
Having some fun with the rivalries,
yeah.
yes. But they're excited about Brady Norton, a guy that can play all 5 positions across that offensive line. Such a valuable piece for your offense as a whole. A guy with versatility that can step in if there's any injuries.
Flip it out. Pass is complete. Logan Forbes on the grab, his first catch of the day for the Maize team.
Jaden Davis looks really comfortable. He's looked comfortable from the first snap he's taken today, and this is very similar route concept we saw Bryce Underwood go to on the last drive with those stop routes and hitch routes. And I said Jaden Davis, probably the most interesting player, for me to watch in this spring game because of the quarterback drama in Ann Arbor last year. Just Michigan couldn't find anyone to step up and solidify that starting role. I think a lot of Michigan fans were curious when or why they weren't seeing Jaden Davis, highly touted recruit, showing some nice things today.
His first really deep shot, one Samaj Morgan. That is incomplete, one-on-one down the sideline.
Intended for Samaj Morgan.
Now, Samaj Morgan is more of a slot receiver, special teams guy. Did a great job winning with the release right there. Jaden Davis would love to have that ball up earlier. In Samaj, having one on that release, get that ball up and out earlier, give Samaj a chance to run underneath it. That was an underthrown ball, giving Jeremiah Lowe a chance to come back and make the play.
27 catches, 139 yards last year for Samaj Morgan. Wants to take his game to a new level this season. He feels Michigan fans will be surprised by the offense this year. Davis again, quick throw. Once O'Leary had to squeeze it into a tight window.
Without any passing identity, really no capability to push the ball down the field. So when you talk about expectations going forward for this fall, look at the talent in the quarterback room. a clear plus. You also bring in Chip Lindsey as a play caller, a clear plus. This should look completely different come fall, which kind of feeds into the general excitement here in Ann Arbor, hoping the Wolverines can get back to competing for conference titles and playoff spots.
Kind of the resounding sentiment, Jake, and you've been in this position of having new quarterbacks, was that you don't truly find out until week 1 against New Mexico, and when this place is truly in a regular season atmosphere. So Bryce Underwood getting ready to take this second down snap. Looking confident right now. But Jake, is it okay if that's still a quote-unquote battle heading into week 1?
It's okay, and I mean, it's something that Michigan, has done for a few years now, even going back to J.J. McCarthy and Cade McNamara. It's been quarterback battles. For Sharon Moore, for Chip Lindsey, and for Michigan fans, you'd love to have that position solidified, because you look at this schedule and you say, wow, this is a very manageable schedule. It sets up nicely for Michigan to make a run and upgrade their wins and compete for that conference title and playoff spot.
Nice hole open up there on the right side for Capana. If it is Underwood starting, how about that week 2 task of going to Oklahoma, Sharon Moore's alma mater? Kind of some extra juice there for him as a coach, and that atmosphere will be a big game for Oklahoma as a program. Not super high expectation for them heading into this year, but that could be quite the test week 2.
And that's where the schedule sets up nice too, is if it is Underwood under center, you have a chance, a favorable matchup week 1 at home to get comfortable before going on the road to Oklahoma.
Again, in the second quarter, we will have a 2-minute warning, so you get the playoff before that. Thrown underneath and complete. Hoffman able to make the grab there. And we'll hit that 2-minute mark.
Bryce obviously noticeably more comfortable.
All 3 timeouts. At the opponent's 39. Pressure is brought, picked up well, in and out of the hands of Fred Moore. Moore had a 48-yard touchdown in last year's spring game, couldn't hang on that time.
And they're excited about Moore and what he's had a good spring, put together a good spring. Talk about this wide receiver room taking that step forward. They think Frederick Moore can be a guy that takes the top off of the defense. Very speedy wide receiver. Just couldn't hang on to it there.
And off this time, back to Capana. So far at the receiver spot, Channing Goodwin having a good day. Donovan McCulley had one grab where he really flashed in a contested ball. Both names that, of course, he didn't call last year for Michigan amongst that wide receiver crew. So looking to see who will jump up and stand out. We haven't called Marlon Klein's name yet at tight end, but he's going to definitely play a key role at that position, trying to replace the man who had the vast majority of your catches a season ago in Colston Loveland.
Yep. I think Marlon might be, they know what they have in Marlon Klein. I think he's shut down for the day. One guy to watch maybe as soon as this very next play is number 4, Andrew Marsh, the early enrollee freshman wide receiver. He's part of the blue team, part of that freshman class with Bryce. 6 foot 175, great athlete. He was an AAU track All-American, high jump. Always loved track backgrounds for wide receivers. He's down here at the bottom of your screen. There he is, and looks like it might be one-on-one coverage, so a chance potentially to go up top here.
Bottom of your screen there. On 3rd and 8, we'll see if they take the shot. You called it, Jake. They looked for it, but incomplete.
Yeah, it looked pre-snap, and again, this is the challenge of Wink Martindale. It looked pre-snap like it was going to be one-on-one coverage, and then the Maize defense rolls their safeties and bails. That's why you see the coverage right there with number 24, Metcalf, coming over from the safety position. Actually, Bryce had Channing Goodwin, number 14, in the slot wide open for a first down. Just didn't see him. What's when you talk about like the limiting factor, what's going to decide how good Bryce Underwood can be and how soon is his ability to see those cues and identify defensive structures? How quickly can he play the mind games with the defenses to slow the game down?
Now backed up here to 3rd and 18. Minute 44 to go in the half. And that ball thrown and intercepted on the back end by Tevis Metcalf. A transfer from Arkansas came over with his brother TJ. Both have had really good days so far in the opening half of this spring game. The brother duo of TJ and Tevis showing out and celebrating together in their first time in the big house in front of a crowd.
And it looked like a miscommunication. I believe that was number 14, Channing Goodwin, running a double move.
Number 16 of the intercepting team. Half the distance to the goal, 1st and 10, Maize.
So he had great protection here in the pocket all day to throw the ball. You see number 14, Channing Goodwin, breaking out to the corner. It looked like Bryce expected him to stay vertical down towards the post. But, hey, you know, no two interceptions are the same. That's not a bad interception at all. It's 3rd and forever, under 2 minutes to go. You're likely going to punt it anyways. Throw it up and give your guy a chance. Again, just not on the same page with Goodwin in terms of the route concept.
Tevis and TJ both committed at the same time. Kona over from Arkansas. Both have looked really good today. Like you said, just miscommunication that time. But our first turnover, and now a minute 30 to work with for Jaden Davis. And the Maize team just trying to get some breathing room here with Cudzall at running back.
I believe that was Trey Pierce, number 95, in the backfield right away. He's a guy that's potentially starting next to Rayshawn Benny on the interior. Wink Martindale said, he's describing the interior of the defensive line. He said, we got a lot of bouncer type guys, meaning bouncer outside the club or the bar. They'll throw you out of the club or the bar. Yeah, just big, burly bears that are strong and violent on the inside. Rayshawn Benny, I expect to be the starter, and then you really have another 5 or 6 guys that could start along Benny. Trey Pierce, number 95, we saw it there as one of those names. Michigan, talking to Mason Graham down on the field, Michigan's become a defensive line factory. NFL teams know that they can come to Ann Arbor and find high-level talent in the D-line room. You see a number of names right there. Extremely deep room.
To the ground with Cudzall, and it's a group, Jake, that won't get worn down because of that. You can constantly rotate, which is going to be so key.
Yeah, especially if you're competing and wanting to make a run at a national title, you're going to play 14, 15, 16 games. You need that depth. There's going to be injuries. That's just part of football. So having depth is a great luxury. You know, Sharon Moore kind of talked to us about this, said of the new world of college football. You got player movement. It's why the spring game's being aired 8 days from the current time right now with the transfer portal. So the current landscape of college football, you got player movement. He shouted out his defensive line as guys are staying. A guy like Derek Moore could be in the NFL, staying. TJ Guy, staying. Rayshawn Benny waiting his turn, staying. So these guys are happy here in Ann Arbor, and it speaks to a belief of how they're going to be developed.
The amount of guys competing to be up there with 4 spots or to rotate in, really good sign. Hole opened up that time, though, for Cudzall. Got through it and picked up a good first down.
Seen a good amount of Cudzall.
Yep.
It's his 2nd or 3rd. Really nice carry. And when you're talking about the 2-minute drill, you got to get that first down. Now a chance for Jaden Davis to lead this Maize offense in a 2-minute drill.
Pressure coming off the edge towards him. We'll give the defensive line a credit with the sack there.
That tackle spot is going to be something to watch out for. Looking at that right tackle, number 66, Taraboy, just really didn't even touch. I believe that was number 33, Dominic Nichols.
Blue team had used one of their timeouts, thinking that maybe we'll get the ball back. Then Maize team got the first down. It's winding now at 32 seconds. Go back to the ground here. Good yardage to get some of that lost yardage back. Cudzall once more trying to find out who's going to merge behind Justice Haynes and Jordan Marshall. We're likely your top 2 running backs right now on the roster.
we haven't heard a lot of Kutzall's name this spring, but this afternoon he's making a name for himself, running with great violence and balance.
It's a great opportunity when you're in that kind of a position in these spring games. Looks like we're going to wind down in the opening first half. Bryce Underwood, solid start to his big house debut in front of fans. Stuart Blake will kick us off to get the second half rolling here in Ann Arbor. No returns. Jake, your thoughts on first half and what you're looking forward to seeing in the second half?
More of the quarterbacks, for sure. I felt Bryce Underwood settled in as the half went on. And really, I want to look at the tackles specifically. The offensive line play is going to be another important piece for this offense. Still up for grabs of who's going to be the starting tackles. We talked about the talent across the defensive line. So I want to see those guys continue to protect and create movement in the run game. And then see some more plays down the field. You know, they've taken some shots, but who's going to be the guy to step up? We saw McCauley win that 50-50 ball early in the first quarter. Who's going to be the next guy to make a big play down the field?
McCauley, the transfer from IU. Of course, that's a dimension that was not a part of this offense a season ago that you want to add on to. This year, Jaden Davis comes back out at QB. They'll hand it off on the first play of the second half. Thomas O'Meara taking the carry. I've seen a slew of different running backs. Justice Haynes, the transfer from Alabama, has looked really good. He had one big run. Jordan Marshall, who was really good in the game against Alabama, 23 carries, 100 yards, and the ReliaQuest Bowl, kind of his breakout game, now into his sophomore year. Defense showing blitz. They bring it, picked up, and that is picked off. Was it in bounds? Looks like it was. So our second INT of the day, Jeremiah Lowe jumping the route there.
That's a heck of a play, and really, if you're going to throw that ball out to the far side of the field, that ball has to be out early. Really, it was late by Jaden Davis, didn't have enough zip on it, and Jeremiah Lowe showing off the instincts, taking a great angle to come down with that interception. Almost had an interception in the first half, I believe, covering Samaj Morgan.
Yep, you're right. That time he gets it.
The hashes are wider in college football, so if you're going to throw out to the far side of the field, that ball has to be out earlier. It has to have extra zip on it. Jaden Davis, little late, not enough zip. Jeremiah Lowe took advantage of the opportunity.
Give it to Capana, who is brought down quickly on the outside. Those edges, again, the depth there is going to be plentiful for Michigan this year.
Kayshawn Bennett, we've called his name a few times today. Again, Sharon Moore felt that this edge unit is the best in college football, led by Derek Moore and TJ Guy, but Kayshawn Bennett making a few plays, showing another one there.
Quick throw into a seam, incomplete. Really nice throw there from Underwood to Hoffman. Arm strength on display.
Underwood's talent and physical abilities just unlock new elements of this offense. That's a dangerous throw, but because of how much zip he has on the ball, and because of his accuracy and ball placement, he's able to squeeze it in there.
Mike Akana, the ball carrier.
We just talked about finding more depth in this receiving core. Donovan McCulley signed some autographs down there. Coming over from Indiana, had the big catch earlier in the game. What are your thoughts on what he could bring to the table?
I mean, he's the clear wide receiver one for this team, and just a different level of talent. Now, listen to the coaches talk about him. Listen to Chip Lindsey talk about him. This is the exact wide receiver they want in one-on-one situations, backside, as that X-wide receiver, a guy that can stretch defenses and threaten them vertically. We saw that with the jump ball and the 50-50 ball in the first quarter of this game.
Oldest receiver in the room, 4 years at IU. Fourth down here, and that is Hoffman again. Really nice grab. I think he might have reeled it into one hand there.
He was being held too.
He was. Gonna have to reel it into one hand.
Those are real challenging catches. The first one kind of lost sight of the ball on 2 plays prior, and then they're being held in a critical situation, coming down with it, showing off the strong hands by Hoffman. to his advantage.
He began his career as a QB, 2023 at 28 catches, 420 yards. Speaking of the end zone, they go to it there, and a flag comes out. One-on-one PI call looking for Andrew Marsh with Tevis Metcalf, who had the interception earlier.
Defense, number 24. By rule, the ball's placed at the 2-yard line, first and goal.
Working, fighting.
Penalty puts the ball
Tevis
at the
Metcalf
2-yard
battling
line.
with Andrew
First
Marsh,
and
the
goal
freshman.
for the Blue.
A fresh set of downs for Blue.
Brings up first and goal. Knocking on the door for the second time down in the red zone for the blue team today. Can they capitalize this time? To the end zone they go, and that one is broken up.
You see the location, again, perfect location, and Jamar Browder, a freshman at 6'5" with great length. Another red zone threat, reminds me of Donovan McCollum.
Second and goal from the 2.
Edmond had the coverage. He's had a good day, as we mentioned earlier. Rotated in 8 games last year, part of the depth at corner this season. Get another crack at it, go to the ground this time, and Capana breaches the end zone. So our first touchdown of the day comes from Micah Capana into his sophomore year.
It's a good job by the blue team taking advantage. It started off with the interception by 32, Jeremiah Lowe, giving Bryce Underwood in this blue offense good field position, and
Touchdown for the Blue.
they were benefited from a few defensive pass interferences, a few opportunities on the fade balls, couldn't connect, but ultimately Micah Capana was able to punch it in from 2 yards out.
Blake with the extra point. And a 10-0 lead set. They're getting a little bigger.
For the Maize,
Peyton O'Leary back to return.
Devin Baxter.
No returns. So to begin this third quarter was a quick series for the Maize that resulted in the INT. Blue team takes it back, gets the first touchdown on the board. Fun day here in Ann Arbor. Jason Ross Jr., Jake Butt, Brett Lewis down at the sidelines with us, our outstanding crew behind the scenes. And it feels like a fall Saturday weather-wise, a few months out until then. But they're feeling it, wanting to get back to where they were season before last. And the momentum at the end of last season, beating Ohio State and Alabama. You can feel it throughout the voices of the coaching staff as you get a good hole on this right side here. Going back to Cudzall, who's had a nice day. Down to the ground. Let's go to Rhett. This is one of our coaches today, Chris Jenkins.
Yeah, just finished up a fantastic rookie season with the Cincinnati Bengals, his second-round pick, and a national champion again right here, leading this Maize team. Chris, how do you get this Maize team on the scoreboard right now?
You know what? I mean, we just grinding, man. We focusing on letting the guys play. You know, they're going to toughen it out, and, you know, we're going to find some plays. We're going to figure it out. We're going to make it roll. You know, what you do in Madden, you got to find the right plays. So that's what we got to do today.
All right, what have you seen from these young quarterbacks really on both sides as, you know, young guys that haven't had a lot of opportunity to play here in front of the big house?
Right, you know, I actually had, you know, the honor and the privilege of watching them perform in practice as well as today. And, you know, the way they're competing against each other, you know, the way they're battling and their performance, you know, they got a lot of heart, they got a lot of talent, and it's just their drive to get better every single day, and they love that competition. So, hey, each of them quarterbacks about to be great players. Let me tell you this.
Yeah, something tells me being back in the big house has brought out some juice in you, a little energy here. Is that what it feels like to you being back?
Oh, yes, sir, absolutely. I mean, I love the game of football in general, so it's always a blessing to be around it, but especially being back in the big house, you know, coming back to my second home, you know, it's beautiful, man.
So, look, you passed the torch to guys like Mason Graham and Kenneth Grant, and now they passed the torch to guys like Rayshon Benny and company. What have you seen from that defensive tackle group trying to step up this year?
You know, the defense, you know, a lot of guys left out, like you said, Mason and Kenneth Grant, but, you know, we got a lot of guys that are ready to step up. You know, Rayshon Benny, we got a lot of younger guys. You know, Trey Pierce, I could go down the list. And, Etta, you're going to see a lot of new guys this year that got a lot to bring, a lot to prove, and they're just ready to show the world what they got.
Can't wait for it. Thanks, buddy.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you having me. And go Blue.
Gotta love it. Chris, the head coach of the Maize team today. 49th pick of the Bengals in the 2024 draft. Got a 28-yard gain on the ground there from Kutzall. It's going to set this Maize team up in a good position here, just inside of the 30 of the blue team. They go back to the ground again.
MVP of the game, it easily could be Kuzdal at this point. I mean, he's broken off a number of big-time runs. He's a little under 200 pounds. He's listed at 5'11", 198. So you see the speed, particularly when he gets out into the open field, but he's broken tackles and run with great strength as well.
He's bringing that regular season energy, just like Chris is bringing today, down to the sidelines there. Sets up 2nd and 9 now here for this Maize offense. By the way, Kutzall today, 13 carries, 103 yards, so eclipsed the century mark of that last carry.
I was thinking about the wide receiver room, and I want to give a shout out to Eric Soup Campbell. He was a guy that was around the program when I was still playing. They brought back Soup Campbell and added him to that wide receiver coaching room. And one thing that I've heard this spring is he's starting to educate these receivers on the history of the position here. Michigan, particularly back in the early 2000s, had talent at that wide receiver position. Soup Campbell is making sure these guys know what the standard is here in Ann Arbor. It's not just running the football. It's, especially with Bryce Underwood and Chip Lindsey, now you're going to have a viable and capable passing game. Soup Campbell wants to start to see some 1,000-yard receivers back here in Ann Arbor.
You see that graphic there. Scholarship wide receivers, just scholarship wide receivers this season versus last season, 10-5. And it just feels like so much more potential this season when it comes to throwing the football. Of course, Bryce Underwood, who again hasn't been given that starting job yet. Not seeing Mikey Keene today either. We got a 41-yard field goal attempt here from Stuart Blake. That is off the mark. Let's go down to Red.
The explosive play quotient, guys, is the #1 priority for new offensive coordinator Chip Lindsey. It was the first thing out of his mouth when we talked to him about his priorities and his focus here in spring ball. I mean, this was a team.
Yeah, Red, one data point that's really interesting, Davis Warren, his average depth of target last year, 6.6 yards. So just there was really nothing allowing Michigan to push the ball down the field. Now, you look at Drake May with Chip Lindsey as his play caller, average depth of target was 11 yards. Another one is only 7% of Davis Warren's throws went for 20 yards or more down the field. Again, with Drake May, that was 20% of his throws. So Michigan's entire offense was condensed really within 10 yards of the line of scrimmage. There was no space to breathe. Kind of to your point, Red, as Chip Lindsey wants to open this up and start to create some explosive plays.
Underwood going to pull it. They'll blow it down.
Bryce Underwood gets the ball. Tackle by David Palapala.
And that's just such a telling graphic. Pass yards last in the Big Ten. Really, Michigan, you go even beyond the Big Ten across the nation, Michigan's passing numbers were more aligned with the service academies that are known for triple options and not passing the football. So, Michigan, there's resource commitment, there's talent here. Obviously, now you got Bryce Underwood, the 5-star. Talked about McCauley and some of these talented receivers they're bringing in. There's really only one direction to go, and that's up when it comes to throwing the football.
Well, and Jake, we got to bring the tight end position into that equation as well when it comes to the explosive plays. I mean, Colston Loveland led this team in every major receiving category a year ago, and now that production is gone. Such a big percentage of the offensive pass game production, and obviously a force in the run game as well. So excited to see what this kind of new look tight end group is going to bring to the equation here when it comes to the offense. So that's one that I've kind of got my eye on here as we finish up.
Thanks for holding me accountable, Red. I can't believe I haven't talked about the tight ends yet. You're absolutely right. And Colston Loveland, another guy that's likely going in the first round, is a muff punt return, but the tight ends are certainly a big piece of Michigan's offense this fall. And the guy that's going to lead that room is Marlon Klein. In terms of athlete. He's maybe the most athletic tight end Michigan has had in a few years. Colston was a great tight end. Marlon Klein, guy that ran a 10-8 100-meter dash back in Germany. Really only been playing football for a few years, but Sharon Moore said he's one of the fastest guys on the team. That's rare and unheard of in the tight end position. So a different type of explosive element to stretch defenses vertically. And another guy to mention is number 80, Hogan Hansen, the sophomore. He reminds me, Hogan Hansen moves more like Colston Loveland, where Marlon Klein is more of a dynamic speedster at the tight end position.
10-8 100-yard dash for Marlon Klein. And he's also the backup punter, played soccer in Germany. That athleticism is big as that pass across the body of Davis is incomplete. Hogan Hansen put on about 20 pounds as well.
Intended for Zach Marshall.
Also seen, it's been Jalen Hoffman has made a number of catches today at the tight end position. A number of really tough catches as well. Can't forget about Max Bredesen, really the heartbeat and leader of the offense at that fullback position. Talk about playing with violence.
Kind of that Kyle Juszczyk comparison.
Yes.
They'll whistle that down in the backfield.
Jaden Davis kept the ball, virtual sack.
Take a look at the pass rush here on the inside by number 97, Awuna. Right there working on the left side of the offensive line. Just walks number 74, the true freshman Avery Gock, back into Jaden Davis.
Third down and 11.
Just a pure bull rush. Nice rep for number 97.
Canton, Michigan native, a part of a deep group along the D-line. Could be the best group in the country if it all comes together right. They want O'Leary down the sideline. Nearly reached out and hauled it in. Working that time against Shamari Earls.
So close. Actually, a really nice ball by Jaden Davis there. And Peyton O'Leary is known for his hands. This is a play he typically makes. He was the spring game MVP a few years ago. Been in this program, feels like forever. And had a huge catch in the Ohio State game to help move the chains in a critical moment there in the fourth quarter. Just couldn't connect with Jaden Davis there.
6 straight games with a catch to wrap up last season. O'Leary definitely amongst those players looking out for the receiver spot this year.
Marshall for the fair catch at the 16-yard line. Or it will be first and 10.
All right, let's see. I'll give you a prediction here. Let's see if we can.
We love a prediction.
Let's see who's going to make a play. We mentioned number 42, Jalen Hoffman, the tight end. I'm looking at the receiver room. 88, Jamar Browder. That's going to be the guy I'm going to highlight down here. He's going to be at the bottom of your screen. Solo wide receiver, X wide receiver. Talked about his height right there above that blue M. True freshman, early enrollee, Jamar Browder.
First time for U of M fans seeing him in the big house. They go to the ground here to begin. Looking on the edge. Cut down out there by Tevis Metcalf, who has really had a nice day. Along with Cole Sullivan, who was primarily on special teams last year.
Tevis Metcalf has had a nice day, and you look across the defense. Cornerback depth is something to watch out for. You can have Jair Hill and Zeke Berry got cornerback 1 and 2 locked down. The nickel position is up for grabs, and Wink Martindale is cross-training a number of guys at the nickel safety position. Tevis Metcalf is one of those guys.
Underwood again to the air. Nice job to put the foot in the ground on the outside edge from Andrew Marsh. Able to step up and get the play to a gain of about 12 there for a first down.
It's another example. We talked about it earlier about the width of the hashes in college football. That's an out route only 4 or 5 yards down the field, but you got to throw it 30 or 40 yards because of the width of the hashes. And Bryce Underwood, no issue with zip getting the ball out to the flat and then get the ball into his playmaker's hands, Andrew Marsh, where he's able to make a guy miss and get upfield.
Marsh, freshman, 3,500 yards in high school, 36 touchdowns. Cool having him and Jamar Browder on the same team. Both highly touted prospects trying to step up at that receiver spot. Underwood plenty of time. down the sideline, incomplete. Well, they were looking for that.
Quarterbacks, obviously, you're watching Bryce Underwood here, the true freshman on your squad here. What have you seen through 3?
Yeah, I thought he got all, a little nervous at the beginning, like probably anybody, but he settled in and really done a nice job. It's hard when you split the team sometimes to get that rhythm going, but really like some of the things he's shown, and excited about the future with him for sure.
I know you want to take some shots here. You want to generate some explosive plays with this offense this year. So how does that kind of manifest itself in the final 15 minutes?
Yeah, we'll see. We got a couple little tricks in our pocket. Hopefully we can get somebody open down the middle. But really, at the end of the day, we need to finish this thing out and get a win for the Blue.
And in terms of offensive position groups that you'd like to see kind of start to settle themselves out a little bit here, have you had your eye on anything in particular through these first 3 quarters?
Yeah, I think we're trying to really find that right combination with the O-line. It's always the hardest thing. It takes sometimes the longest. We got a good competition going on in there. We need to find those 9 guys, 10 guys, whatever it is that we feel like can rotate in and then figure out who the best 5 are and get them on the field.
There have been some players along that group up front that have started to stand out to you a little bit?
Well, Andrew Babaloa, he's on the Maize team right now, so I can't pull for him. But no, he's had a great spring. Really, a lot of those guys have come along. I think a guy like Gio, who's a veteran, Crip, he's a veteran. So we just need a couple of young guys to step up, and when we watch the tape, we'll see how it went.
All right, thanks so much, Chip. Appreciate it.
All right, go Blue.
Yeah, send it back to you guys. Remember Sharon Moore telling us Gio El Hadi probably had his best spring since he's been here.
Yeah, one of the more experienced guys across this offensive line and comfortable in that left guard spot. Talking to Chip, he felt like El Hadi has that left guard spot locked down. Great Crip in the center locked down. And you hear Chip mention Andrew Babaloa, the first pick in this year's draft, 5-star, also part of that talented freshman class. Really excited about him for the future. I think one point to mention here is, remember, Sharon Moore was the offensive line coach. So when he became the head coach, they went and took Grant Newsome, who was my teammate and was the tight end coach. They moved him to the offensive line coach. So his development has been critical to the overall group's development. And then what they do to balance this all out is they went and got Juan Castillo, more of a veteran voice in the offensive line room, to help out Grant Newsome. And he said he spent this offseason, every single offensive lineman has been doing basically an O-line tutor session with Juan Castillo, kind of getting up to date on the X's and O's to make sure they're mentally all on the same page. So there's been an investment across the board into that group, because last year wasn't good enough. They're used to competing for Joe Moore awards.
Trying to get back to that standard this year. Brought up Babalola, a lot of potential there at left tackle. Don't quite know who's going to be in that spot yet, but there is some really good names that could potentially be there. A 3rd and 1 coming up for the blue team and Bryce Underwood. They'll hand it off. Capana trying to counter back to the left side to get enough for the first down. Looks like he should have enough to move the chains here. He does. It was a great interview with Rhett and Chip Lindsey. The players love his southern accent. Yeah. That's been one of their favorite parts about being coached by him. Reminder for Michigan fans, he's not actually calling the plays today. Steve Kasula, the tight end coach, is on the offensive side of things for the blue team. As Wink Martindale said, him and Chip are kind of like parents today. They're hanging out, soaking it all in. But a ton of optimism. Chip Lindsey coming over from North Carolina. That group had a lot of balance and success a season ago offensively. Head coach of Troy prior to that. OC at Southern Miss as well. Deep shot here down the seam for Goodwin out of the reach. Had him in the end zone open, but overthrown.
Oh, he did have him. That concept is a Chip Lindsey special. You had number 88, Jamar Browder, the X receiver, by himself. He was running a deep corner route. So as he releases inside, breaks to the corner, that gets the safety's attention. You saw number 31 right there, Andrew Ghetto, go with 88 Browder, which left Goodwin wide open, and just Bryce Underwood a little too much arm strength on that one.
Seeing the elements, though, of that North Carolina offense that averaged 32 points per game last year, 423 yards per game. Prior year, 34 points per game. And we're top 10 in the NCAA in total yards in 2023 under Chip Lindsey. They go back to the ground again. Those were the 2 years kind of summed up for Lindsey at North Carolina. Seeing a slew of different backs again. Sullivan on the tackle that time. Have seen him step up a few times at the linebacker spot today for the Maize team.
Yeah, just that concept right there is something we didn't see much of for the Michigan Wolverines last fall, and it's exactly the point that we've been talking about up here, that Rhett's been talking about down on the field, is the willingness and then the ability to push the ball downfield. That's something that they expect to connect on with Bryce Underwood for many years in the future.
Underwood stepping up, got a block on the outside for a first down and more. Doesn't sound like they're going to run him a ton, but he can definitely run it. Let's go down to Rep.
Yeah, checking out, having a little conversation with Zeke Berry here. Zeke, I noticed obviously you played early on and come out here and you put your shirt on here from the kids at Mott Children's Hospital. How special is that, and how cool is that to kind of have that interaction with those guys?
I mean, it's cool. I mean, just being able to have those kids, draw pictures and have us wear them, I feel like, it's a lot for them, for us to do that too, wear it on the field, just showing that, we respect them, we're showing love too. I just want to thank Jade, the girl that drew my picture. I'm gonna sign after and then give it to her back after this.
Man, that's awesome. And I appreciate you shouting her out as well. And we just saw explosive play on the ground from the true freshman Bryce Underwood. Has that been a common theme throughout spring?
Oh yeah, I mean he's been showing out at practice. I mean that guy is a true athlete. I mean I'm excited to see what he's going to do for us throughout the season, especially with his arm and legs too. I mean he's a great athlete.
And when you think about a freshman coming in at a position like quarterback with the potential to be a starter, what are some of the things that you look for from a player like that kind of knows he's got the trust of the team?
I mean, I feel like just him, how he handles his business each and every day. Like every time before practice, he comes out just on his own, goes through his cadence, checks his reads, do what he got to do. I mean, just seeing that, you build trust in the other guys that see that. You know what I mean?
And Zeke, for you made some big plays for this defense in the past. What do you got in store? How'd you feel for this spring, and how does that lead you into the summer and the fall?
I mean, I felt good about it. I got a different mentality this year. People don't think I could do what I could do at corner, but I'm gonna show a lot of people that I'm here and I can do whatever I want to do, no matter if it's nickel, safety, corner. It don't matter. I'm out here to play and work and show people. And you better give me my respect. You know what I mean?
Put me anywhere. Let me make some plays. Love that mentality. Thanks, Zeke. Appreciate you, man.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
But Goodwin took a big hit over the middle from Andrighetto there. Zeke Berry going to be a key part of the defense. Moved over from nickel to outside corner last year due to injuries and was in big spots at the cornerback position in big games, including Ohio State last year.
Yeah, Zeke is a special talent. He's speaking to people doubting him. I would not doubt Zeke Berry whatsoever. He was kind of replacing that Mikey Sainristil nickel role initially. And he's capable of doing a little bit of everything. Great blitzer, great tackler, and a great DB.
Stewart Blake off the mark on that field goal attempt. Again, Dominic Zavada, we're not seeing him today. He is the kicker for Michigan, of course. Not injured, just not playing today in the spring game. Zavada coming off a phenomenal year. Could argue the best kicker in the country.
Was a big hit. You mentioned Andrighetto there at the safety position. Brandon Hillman is likely the starting safety alongside Ron Moore. Maybe he's rubbing off on the rest of the guys in the room because Brandon Hillman's more that throwback, classic, violent safety.
Nice job to spin out of the initial grasp there of the tackle. It was Nathaniel Awusa-Boateng, one of the freshmen who had him. But O'Meara able to get out of the grasp and get a couple of yards.
And they're very high on number 12, the freshman, Boateng. High ceiling. Great athlete. You saw the speed and agility as he just burst right through the hole there. Just couldn't finish the tackle. But in terms of athlete, a different type of athlete in that linebacker room, and the future is very bright for number 12.
Yeah, Awusa-Boateng, four-star prospect. First time for Michigan fans seeing him from near the same area as Jason Barham in Maryland. They throw it to the outside this time, have a completion up near the yards again. We talked about the defense and guys who could potentially be future NFL guys. Derek Moore right there, we're not seeing him right now, but he's going to be a key element to this Michigan defensive line.
Future NFL guy, really is an NFL guy right now, could be in the NFL and getting ready for the NFL draft, but decided to come back in Ann Arbor and potentially could sneak into the first round. Does everything well. You see him involved in the run game there, stoning tacklers, also a great pass rusher. He's got that long arm stab. you know, Sharon Moore was asked, hey, who's the guy standing out to you in spring? And without hesitation, the first name he mentioned was Derek Moore. You know, all great defenses need a great pass rusher, and that's number 8.
That ball is tipped and then complete and caught. Able to haul it in was Logan Forbes off a fortuitous ricochet for the Maize team.
I don't know if that's the smartest decision, trying to throw the ball there. Forbes was certainly not open. Yep, the ball got tipped, thrown it into double coverage, and I guess sometimes it just works out that way.
Gain of 20, a day that's started with some rain in the morning has turned into a beautiful day full of sunshine in Ann Arbor, and still 5:10 to go for the Maize team, down 10 to get a quick score and then try to get it back. You do have the 2-minute stoppage coming up here in the fourth quarter. We have that in the second and now fourth quarter, so down 10. Can you piece something together here on this drive with Jaden Davis?
And it's now or never as in terms of time to make a move, but for both these quarterbacks, Jaden Davis, Bryce Underwood, you know, Mikey Keene has played a ton of football. It's advantageous for them to get to go against this Wink Martindale defensive structure. I mentioned he threw it into a lot of traffic there on that Forbes catch, but Wink Martindale is going to rotate his defenses and disguise the coverage. So if these guys can figure out how to handle that defense, they can figure out any defense.
I think this quarterback competition, Jake and Jason, is really interesting to watch because it's not necessarily a metric. It's not like, all right, we need the quarterback with the completion percentage. We need to monitor the touchdowns and the interceptions. Of course this team is doing that. But Coach Sharon Moore told us that he'll know who's the starter when that guy grabs the team completely. It'll be pretty apparent, he says. He remembers back to when J.J. McCarthy and Cade McNamara were alternating starts back in that 22 season. In the Hawaii game, Jake, which you were a part of, certainly saw J.J. McCarthy on a play-action shot to Roman Wilson early in that game, second play of the game. Trevor Keegan, the offensive lineman, comes off and says to Sharon, well, that's over, talking about the quarterback competition. And so it's moments like that where the team recognizes who that guy is, and they'll know then whether it's Bryce Underwood, whether it's Mikey Keene, or Jaden Davis.
Yeah, Red, that was my first ever call in this industry. Michigan, Hawaii, and J.J. McCarthy. From the very first throw he had, there was a buzz and electricity in this stadium, and he just kept making play after play after play, and that's kind of what Sharon Moore is alluding to. Sure, the numbers look great at the end of the day, but it was unmistakable because of how it felt and what it looked like with JJ under center. And you get the sense we've seen some of that with Bryce Underwood this spring. Certainly we've heard about it from the other players. Zeke Berry was just talking about it there, but that's what we'll expect to see and hear about going forward into the fall.
Little flea flicker, first time we've seen the trickery. Looking for O'Leary down the field in the double coverage and broken up. Nice job to make the play there from Jaden Young.
Jeremiah Lowe as well, number 32. We've called his name a few times, had the interception earlier, and this is a flea flicker, so you got to stay disciplined in your coverage. Playing against Michigan, flea flicker is always going to be on the table. There's Jeremiah Lowe, not rushing to come up and make the tackle, staying in his assignment in coverage, and he gets his help from number 14, the freshman Jordan Young.
Young and Lowe doing a great job back there. Go back to that Hawaii game. You crushed it in the pronunciations, by the way, your very first game. That was with our friend Lisa Byington, right?
Yes. A lot of work there with the Polynesian names, for sure.
Scooting out of bounds is Davis.
This is pretty much it. This is the game right here. Operating like it's a 2-minute situation. I don't know if they'll be able to get the snap off in time, but Maize, if you want to make this competitive, you got to get some points on the board ASAP. And then it's no onside kick. It's a 4th and 15 to get the ball back.
We've hit the 2-minute timeout here. So, like you said, Jake, need some points and need them now with the 3 timeouts. Almost to that point. Summertime right around the corner. July 12th, the BTN Big 10K returns to Soldier Field in Chicago. Scan the QR code to register right now at BTN Big 10K. Chicago.com to be a part of the 10K or 5K race and post-race tailgate party.
It's a great event. I was able to MC it a few years ago. I even ran it.
You did.
Great turnout. Obviously, everybody takes great pride in their college program, and Chicago's a melting pot of all the Big Ten programs.
Now, teams creeping back out there. 1st and 10 coming up for the Maize team. Davis had to kind of throw that off his back foot. Whistle down, incomplete. They're going to call it a sack.
A dangerous throw. They got to be real careful throwing that ball over the middle, particularly late over the middle. You better be accurate.
Another opportunity for Davis here, just going to check it down. Nice hit made in the open field by Owusu Boateng, who we talked about.
Speed, closing speed, out in space.
3rd down and 7.
Minute 10 to go. That pass is intercepted, thrown behind the intended target. And for the 2nd time today, Jeremiah Lowe has a pick.
Looked like Jane Davis was just caught between, was it 85, Logan Forbes, or number 82, Imarion Stewart. See both those guys. Really, Forbes had a bunch of green grass in front of him. It looked like it could have been a touchdown out to his left, and Jane Davis didn't know who to throw the ball to and got in between. Lowe, probably the MVP of the defense today. Talked about that cornerback depth. Lowe is one of those guys taking advantage of this spring game opportunity to earn himself some playing time.
That's pretty great.
Yeah, him, Tevis Metcalf really stepped up today. Saw some nice plays from another freshman in Shamari Earls.
Bryson Kuzdal, the running back.
Names that definitely had opportunities in this spring game to make a case for more playing time this year. Overall, wrapping thoughts on Bryce Underwood.
The potential is clearly there. The physical capabilities clearly there, and yet you still see the youth at times. So you never get too high or too low, particularly about spring games. And Chip Lindsey said this, it's extra hard to evaluate when you split the team in two. So he's throwing to half of his receivers and in the pocket behind half of his expected offensive line. But clearly the talent was there, and cool for all these fans. Great turnout here in Ann Arbor to see what is the most highly touted and exciting freshman in Michigan history.
And some trickery here on one of his final few plays is going to be the biggest play of the day for the blue team for either side. This will go all the way to the house. 98 yards hooking up with Jalen Hoffman.
What a way to close it out for the blue team. What a way to close it out for Bryce Underwood. And what a way to close it out for the tight end, Jalen Hoffman. An exclamation mark on what was an excellent spring game for the junior tight end. And a great play call there by Steve Kasula as well.
One and more explosives. There's your punctuation on this spring game for Bryce Underwood and the Michigan blue team offense.
Completely caught the Maize team off guard. They're probably thinking it's a run play to close it out and just run the final seconds off the clock. But Jalen Hoffman, a good job leaking out behind the defense after some trickery and shows off the speed to finish it with a touchdown.
One final extra point. Hoffman 7 catches for 149 today. And a touchdown, biggest play of the game. And what a way to wrap it. Bryce Underwood if there's any pressure, he's ready for it.
Kind of started slow to this game, took him a while to get settled in, but the final throw is a punctuation mark.
Let's go down to ref.
All right, Coach, that's a heck of a way to end this thing, putting an exclamation mark on this spring game here between the Maize and the Blue. What'd you see out there?
Yeah, I just proud of our guys. A really good spring. They had fun and no injuries. That's what we're happy about. But we got a lot of guys here. I want to get on the mic, so talk to these guys.
All right, Shug. What's up, man? Look, we put a little Shug on the end of that game. I know wrong team, but at the end, we all come together, right?
Yeah, we do, man. We put in the work all offseason, to show out, man.
How about those quarterbacks, those young quarterbacks coming in here, first real opportunity to play in a full game like this in front of the Michigan fans, man. What'd you see out of that group?
I mean, they got a lot of potential. I mean, I like them. I like both of them. Keep competing, keep grinding, and they're gonna be good.
Thanks, Shug. Appreciate you, man. Derek Moore here with us. What's up, Derek? Watching your defense pitch a shutout today for the Blue Squad, man. How'd that feel?
It felt good, man. Good, proud moment to watch them guys go out and just show the world what they all capable of doing.
So when you see a play like that to end it, right, and you know that it came off the hand of a true freshman quarterback at 17 years old, man, what kind of confidence does that give you for what your offense can do this fall?
Man, that give us, especially for the defense, that give us great confidence. Cause pretty much that just show you that, man, Michigan, we on a way to be back on top, and I love to see what Bryce out there doing. Also, JD, I feel confident and comfortable with both of them guys out there. And no matter whoever get the starting role, Michigan just got to be proud that both of them guys out there and both of them ballers. I love both of them boys, and I'm just waiting for Saturday to see both of them boys go crazy.
Coach Moore said that you are one of the guy that has really stood out the most and had one of the best springs of any player. What has felt good about what you've been able to put out on tape here this spring?
Really just going out there and just playing with confidence, Just been out there with my brothers. I've been here for a while. I've been in the scheme for a while. So the game just really coming slow to me. And I'm just able to play fast. The rest of this offseason, I'm just planning on. My fault. I'm out of breath now.
No, you good.
I ran all the way down there. But I'm ready to just put the work in this offseason with my brothers, and ready to get to this natty this year, man. So
I appreciate you, man.
All right, no problem. Thank you, man.
Well, out of breath for a good reason. Getting the work in the offseason, capping the spring with a really fun day here in Ann Arbor. Jake, your final thoughts?
Yeah, one guy we didn't mention enough is the head coach